Oh, didn't see you guys there. How's it going? Welcome back to Buffalo's Project Garage. Today, we're not going to be turning any wrenches. I actually have a little bit of rope set off to the side over there, and we're going to be doing something fun. It's actually, from what I've seen online, it's called, I believe, chaos weaving. What we're going to be doing is putting some ropes through these trees out here and trying to make some bridges and have a little bit of fun while we're at it too. Anyways, let me go ahead and I'll show you guys what my plan is. Alright, so my plan is to go from the container right here, these two hooks, out to these first two trees, and then from these two trees to the trees behind them, and then just kind of snake all through the yard. I think it's going to be a cool little project, and it's something fun to do, a little hangout area whenever I get stressed out working on a project. You can see there's a little bit of stress in the back of the bed right there on that truck. So we need to decompress for a little bit, for a good 48 hours before we get back to work on anything. So today, I'm gonna go ahead and start weaving through these trees, try to have a little bit of a relaxing, calming weekend, and see if we can't, oh, bug, dear God. Anyways, see if we can't get back to a little bit of peace and clarity around here. So here's our materials here. This is what I plan on weaving together. So we're going to use the purple rope for most of the structure, as long as this marine grade rope as well. And then we'll mostly be using some of this rope to tie it all together. I thought that was kind of a cool houndstooth design there. And it kind of goes well with everything, kind of the black, red, white, purple. I thought, well, yeah, kind of the red purple collides, but anyways, let's go ahead and we'll get started, I guess. So we're going to wrap it around the trees back over here, and then right here is where I'll make my knot in the middle for tensioning it. Might be the best place, I think. We'll see. Ta-da. Hey, there we go. Just a hop, skip, and a jump. Ta-da. That is nice and tensioned. Beautiful. Now we'll go ahead and start weaving. So here I'm taking a UV marine grade rated rope and wrapping it around the purple rope, both for cosmetic and structure reasons. I think it'll add some more rigidity, look cool, and give me another place to tie off when I start doing the webbing with some paracord later on. But anyways, let's go ahead and get to that paracord. All right, we got that done up there. You can see everything's twisted together the way I think it looks pretty good in that pattern personally. We got everything tied off and tensioned back at the container, so easy access if you have to ever retension this later on. We are in Florida, so with storms, if these trees sway and stretch the net out, I'll be able to tighten that up in the future, hopefully without having to mess with the integrity of the center. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and start. I don't really know the pattern I wanna go for. I was thinking kind of maybe 2 circles right here, or maybe one in the center. I'm not sure. We're gonna go ahead and get to it and kind of see what happens. So here's where I start to tie the main body together that I'll make the web off of with the paracord and the smaller rope later on. One thing I would like to note is if you're thinking of doing this, the area I used is about an 8 by 10 foot wide by about a 24 to 28 foot deep, and I used about 300 foot of rope for the main body and about 1,200 feet of paracord and other thinner rope by the end of it for the main webbing. So if you're doing this, keep in mind that and buy it in bulk. Do not buy it in little bits here and there or at just your local, hardware store. But anyways. All right, after a few more hours of work, we're back and this is where we've gotten to. So you can see I've taken my time to match every pattern from one side to another. It's not exactly completely symmetrical because of the location of some of the knots. You can see I have one of those metal bands there in the middle. Hopefully that's a little easier to see right here, how I've tied everything up walking forward to that little carabiner there, which is not a carabiner, I forget what that's called. Anyhow, all the way down over to here. So the more I kept looking at this thing, I really wasn't happy with the amount of support rope that I had. So I took and I added a bunch of these little ropes here and doubled up on them for the strength of it. That way I'd also have a little bit of a pattern I could follow with my paracord, as I want the color on this to be pretty vibrant and also have its own little areas. I do want it to be chaotic, but not so brutal on the eyes that it's hard to look at. But anyways, I'll talk about that more a little bit here. Well, it's the next day. I didn't run out of rope necessarily, but I ran out of time last night, so I'll show you real quick what I got done. There we go. I got a little bit of the webbing started here on the front. I got all of the main body, all the strength of it woven in last night. There we go. I'm pretty happy with how this is going. I've tried to keep some patterns you can see on each side. For the most part, going through it, I'm going to do the blue on the outside. I'm going to try to do white on the inside. I think that'll look pretty good. As far as this area goes, I got plans for this. So this is where I started to realize that this project was a lot more than I could handle for one day on a Saturday or even on a Sunday. I worked on this until about Tuesday. Wednesday this past week is when I actually finished it. This took me about 35, 36 hours overall when I look back at the recording. This was pretty intense as far as knot tying, even on my hands and everything. And I do construction. I'm pretty callous as far as that comes. But anyways, you can see I worked on it into the night that night. Even the next day I worked into it again. You'll see my clothes change here soon because I was working on it the next night. And anyways, it was definitely a learning experience for what to expect for coming with all the webs I have planned for the future in the trees. But anyways, one thing I could definitely recommend is if you ever do this yourself, put on some good music, drink a beer or two, and get started. There's nothing else you can really do but just get at it. It can seem overwhelming, especially when you just have 4 or 5 ropes up there and you really can't see it all filled in at the end. But it's definitely very rewarding the more you get it put together, and the farther you get along as the project goes, the more you can see it in your mind put together. But anyhow. All right, I'm back much later in the day, and you can see here behind me, we're almost done. I got these 2 little sections right here. Let me walk up here real quick. I got these 2 sections. I'm gonna do white, and I'm gonna do blue in this V. That's the last strip of blue that I have. I got some more white paracord down there in the garage, so we're gonna grab that, finish this up, and hopefully wrap this video up. This is taking me much longer than I wanted it to, but I'll tell you what, I love this net. I cannot wait to do some more throughout the rest of the trees here. But anyways, let's get this wrapped up so I can get inside, get a shower and some dinner. So after multiple days and about 30-35 hours of weaving, I was very happy to be coming to the end of this project here. But if you look in the background, I noticed while editing this video in the top left, you can see where we feed the emus at night, where there's one right there. The raccoons come up after, actually, while I'm up here, not even paying attention, snacking on their food too. So I thought that was pretty cool. I may have to set up a livestock or wildlife camera out there and see what I can catch at night. But anyways, I thought that was pretty cool. So back to the video. 3 days in the making, many late nights, and you can see we finally have it complete here. So from both sides of the container, we got it going out. Originally, it was square with the trees. You can see how much this pulled in as I wove. I got one of these hitches here just because, yeah, why not? Come on, it's funny. Anyways, going on up, we got the matching one here and got another clip here to kind of hold everything in the center together. I wanted to do the blue on the outside, but I ran out of paracord, only had enough for that. If I step up here and turn around, you can see, looking down, same situation. I got the blue lining the outside. I like the look, but anyways, this is the last area I have to do, and I finished everything else already, so I figured I'd go ahead and show you guys a little demonstration of how I've been doing everything here. So the demonstration didn't really go as planned. The light way oversaturated it in the video, and you really couldn't see what I was doing, so I just sped it up and figured I'd talk about it. I did a clove hitch, and then every rope that you go to that's a supporting rope, aka the purple one or the big white rope I have around it, you want to do a clove hitch too. All the web weaving in between, I did clove hitches just to make sure everything was locked in, but if you pull it over on the left and the right side like you just saw me do there, that locks it in plenty enough for the web, especially for whenever you're stepping on it. It'll be plenty strong enough. A few things I wanted to mention that I didn't mention in the video is at the container I did put some little plastic shims in front of the rope so it didn't rub raw on the metal container and break in the next like year or 6 months or whatever whenever someone's up there jumping on it. And the other thing I did too is I went to every single knot or rope ending that I did, and I made sure I singed it as well so it wouldn't come apart on me over time too. As the rain and the stretching and the trees and the wind, you know, there will be a little bit of wear to it, but anyways, that's the only notes I really wanted to add on to the video here. Alright, and just like that, that's the last piece to the puzzle. This has been an incredibly fun project. I cannot wait to go from these trees here, so those trees there, and then one day into the top of that tree there. I think that would be super cool to make like a pirate's little cove up in the top there, or whatever you would want to call it. But I am super happy for tonight with the progress on this. So, needless to say, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see me continue out into the yard, hopefully when it's not so dark out and I can get a little better camera footage, definitely stick to this series and I will see what I can do next time. Anyways, thanks for watching all the way through. If you have watched it here, leave your comments below and any recommendations for the future going through here, any ideas, and anyways, I'll see you guys next time.